Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shankwaya One Vision Ministry. Today I want to speak on enduring to the end is the goal. Abiyah, thank you for today. I need your Ruach to guide me and direct me, to give me the strength to endure, for me to bring forth this message. Being consistent is a task. I'm pretty tired, spiritually, mentally, just tired. So I need your strength. I need your Ruach to lead and guide me. May those that hear this be able to sift through whatever rambling I do to get whatever principle they require or need to move forward in this life during this season. May your will be done. May edification come. Yada Yahuwah. So I'm gonna do a lot of talking probably. Get my hands on my face. How you live matters, but how you die, that's more important. That's my thought. It's a lot of times that, we can look at people that live like hell, but in their final days, they get it together. I have a thought on the thief on the Staros or that was being persecuted with Yahusha and how he was a lifetime thief. And at that moment, he spoke up for Yahusha and let it be known that, if Yahusha could remember him when enters into his kingdom, he would appreciate that. And Yahusha acknowledged him. Many know of Judas and how we call it, Judas, but Yahuda, this man was right there with all of the disciples, walking with them, ministering with them, doing all the things that they were doing. But there was some definite information in the text, that showed that, he would betray, that he was the one dealing with the money box and doing things that showed that his character was flawed, but he was there right amongst them. But then he also was the one that took money to betray. Now, I really don't like to focus on the Brit Hadashah a lot as my support. So I'm gonna do more than talk, though. I am gonna share some information, but let me go to some text first, and then I'm gonna do a lot of talking more today. I'm gonna do a little bit different, but still gonna share some text, of course. So let me go to some text and get on that. Now, this text right here that I'm about to speak on, it deals with King Saul. King Saul was the king that was chosen by the people. Yahuwah never wanted Israel to have a king. If you go to Exodus 19:5 and 6, you'll see that he set Israel up to be a nation of royal priests. So the priests were supposed to be his mouthpiece. They were supposed to be those who spoke for him and led the people directly, but yet under his authority, obeying him. So you get to this point in Saul's life where he wanted to please the people rather than please Yahuwah. And in doing so, it disrupted his kingdom or his ruling. So Shemiel Aleph, or First Samuel 15, I'm going to read this couple of verses here, starting with 22. It says, Then Shemuel said, Does Yahuwah delight in ascending offerings and slaughterings, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? A lot of people, they point towards the offerings, they point towards the sacrifices, yet obedience is greater. So let's keep going. Look, to obey is better than a slaughtering. To heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is as wickedness and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, he also does reject you as sovereign. So this is when it opened up the door for David, to step in as king. And Shaul said to Shemuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the mouth of Yahuwah and your words, because I feared the people and listened to their voice. Shaul heeded the people. Many have read texts that said, don't be weary in well doing, and of course the text that talks about enduring to the end. I deal with young people on a daily basis now, and they really be testing me. I raised my own children, and my own children test me. So I'm like, what surprise? It's not a surprise. I was a test to my mother. I was a test to my grandmother. I was a test to the people that were over me. What a surprise. But man, it wears you out, because it's like, man, when they gonna get it? Right now, sometime I'll be talking to peers that's around my age, and like, when they gonna get it? When they gonna get it? And I'm pretty sure there's people that still talk to me and say, when he gonna get it? Living this life, you're gonna have some ups and downs, you're gonna have some mistakes. You gotta be in it. You gotta endure to the end. And I tell you, it's a many times I've wanted to quit on life, want to quit on jobs, just want to quit and just like, man. And the older I get, my body is just like, yeah, go ahead and quit. I'm tired sometimes. I'm taking a break on Facebook, and I don't know if it's how long it's going to be or whatever, but it's like I'm still ministering. And I kind of want to take a break on this a little bit, in the aspect of the thoughts of who even hearing, but then what? My daughter hit me up last week and was like, asking me some questions. And I'm like, you watched? And she had watched, and she asked some questions. So I'm like, man, you never know who's hearing you, especially when you're speaking on this social media type stuff or over the internet. Somebody might need to hear you. Endure to the end. Let me keep encouraging myself. Sometimes you got to stir up the gift that's in you, but also encourage others, because you don't know who you're helping with what you're going through. Somebody is watching you. Your consistency can be encouraging to someone else. Your consistency can give somebody the motivation to push through whatever they're going through. A lot of times, people have discounted you and stuff like that, but then they like, man, but he made it through. When I went through my divorce, my first marriage and stuff like that, of course, I talked on it a lot. I dealt with a lot of pain dealing with that situation, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, could he please talk about something else? Can he please get through this?" And some people didn't think that I would get through it because I was on that thing. I was talking about it on a regular basis. I was suffering, going through a lot. And then eventually I got to a point where I talked about it a little less. Not that I don't talk about it at all, because I'm like, you learn from the situation that you endure. And someone else can see that example that you went through and avoid it if you teach from it. A lot of times people forget that even when as Christians we did testimony services, and then many a times in those testimonies gave us encouragement and also gave us motivation to endure our own situations. When we seen someone get through something that we didn't believe anyone could get through, and they came out with a positive reward. I tell you, just talking and communicating with people sometimes is therapy. Me, a lot of times when I use social media and stuff like that, I've been talking to me, and a lot of people feel like that I got it together, or I act as if I got it together. And it's like, no, I'm working through some things myself. So let me see. Let me go and share my screen again and get back to sharing a little bit of text. I know that I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking today, but I want to go over here and cherry pick something. All right. Cherry pick something and, show you some of what I had said. It's like Matthew 24:13. It says, "But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved." Coming up in Christianity, that altar call is what they said. You come up here and you recite this and you're saved. And then a lot of times in my early Christian walk, I was consistently going up to the altar call because I did not feel it. And I'm like, I need to feel something change in me. I didn't feel no change in me. And it's like, it didn't take. And then it's like, really, is the feeling is not what it's about. It's really not. When I got on the other end, when I did kind of feel, but I became an usher, a greeter, assistant to the altar call and stuff like that. And I'm like, hearing that speech and telling people that they're saved, and then having to contact these people afterwards and seeing how they basically went back to what they were doing. And I'm like, when you talk to them, "Oh, I'm saved," but they got back to living worldly and doing whatever, getting high, partying and stuff like that. And it's like, this ain't it. That ain't, we telling them that they saved, but now they living in a way that does not look saved, doesn't look like enduring. It took me to, come into this Hebrew walk to get to the text, or, even though I had read it, to get a comprehension that salvation is not something that, we really decide in at an altar call, but it's the enduring part that determines. Again, I spoke on Judas or Yahuda. and he killed himself. He didn't endure to the end, but he walked a life along with the what some people call the apostles. I don't like using that term because I'm like, where did that come from? But the disciples, where he was doing all of the miracles, the baptisms or immersions, I should say. He was doing all of that. But his end showed that he wasn't there. When you look at it, let's keep going. Let me go. I want to show something. Going back to text and show something. I'm gonna read a little bit here. This is an interesting story to me. All right. So it's over here in Malachim, Aleph, or First King 13. It says, and see, a man of Elohim went from Yehuda to Bethel by the word of Yahuwah, while Jeroboam was standing by the slaughter place to burn incense. And he cried out against the slaughter place by the word of Yahuwah and said, O slaughter place, thus says Yahuwah, see, a son is to be born to the house of David. Yoshiyahu is his name, and on you he shall slaughter the priests and the high priests who burn incense in you, and men's bones be burnt on you. You're gonna defile that. It's gonna be defiled. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which Yahuwah has spoken. See, the slaughter place is split apart, and the ashes on it poured out. And it came to be when sovereign Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of Elohim, he cried out against the slaughter place in Bethel, that he stretched out his hand from the slaughter place, saying, seize him. So he seized him. Then his hand, which he stretched out toward him, dried up, so that he was unable to bring it back to him. Man, it shriveled up, it dried up. He was going against the will of Yah, it would seem, and he dealt with that directly. But let's keep going. And the slaughter place was split apart, and the ashes poured out from the slaughter place according to the sign which the man of Elohim had given by the word of Yahuwah. And the sovereign answered and said to the man of Elohim, please appease the face of Yahuwah your Elohim, and pray for me, that my hand might be restored to me. And the man of Elohim appeased the face of Yahuwah, and the sovereign hand was restored to him and became as it was before. So when he, spoke against the will of Yah, it shriveled up. Now the man of Elohim interceded, and it was restored. The sovereign then said to the man of Elohim, come home with me and refresh yourself, and I give you a gift. But the man of Elohim said to the sovereign, if you were to give me half your house, I do not go with you, nor do I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so he commanded me by the word of Yahuwah, saying, so Yahuwah commanded him, do not eat bread, do not drink water, nor return by the same way you came. Now, this is a command, a directive, an instruction. So this is Torah to this man. No, this is not the books that we call the Torah, but this is direct Torah or instructions. He was commanded. So he went another way and did not return by the way he came to Bethel. And a certain old prophet was dwelling in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken to the sovereign. So this is an old prophet. And their father said to them, which way did he go? This old prophet is asking about this other prophet, the one same prophet that just dealt with the king and riddled, you know, hand shriveled up, and then it was healed. He's talking about that one, the one that said he ain't supposed to go the same way. He ain't supposed to eat, he ain't supposed to drink, according to what Yah said. And the father said, which way did he go? And his sons had seen which way the man of Elohim went, who came from Yahudah. And he said to his sons, saddle the donkey for me. And they saddled the donkey for him, and he rode on it, and went after the man of Elohim, and found him sitting under the terebinth, under a terebinth. That's a tree. And he said to him, are you the man of Elohim who came from Yahudah? And he said, I am. And he said to him, come home with me and eat bread. Remember what he was directed. And he said, I am not able to return with you, to go with you, nor am I to eat bread or drink water with you in this place. For word came to me by the word of Yahuwah, do not eat bread nor drink water there, nor return by the way you came. And he said to him, I am too a prophet like you. Men will stand as prophets. I could be one standing as a prophet. Do what Yah says do, not a man. If Yah has told you something to do, you do that. Don't let nobody intercede on what Yah has told you to do and have you do something different. Let me keep going. I too am a prophet like you, and a messenger spoke to me by the word of Yahuwah. Now, if Yahuwah already talked to you, why do you need somebody else telling you what Yah has said for you? If you for sure and for sure and for sure Yah has spoken to you, I'm guilty. Let me stop real quick. I'm guilty. In 2001, when I was contemplating suicide or either homicide, I was going through some stuff with my first wife. I didn't care about my relationship with Yah. I was a Christian at that time. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with life. I'm done. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I had an encounter. And in that encounter, I was directly hearing, sound like my voice, but I wasn't speaking. I'm in my mother's home and I'm hearing that I was pre-assigned, that my latter days would be greater, that I had no right to destroy what did not belong to me. I heard this. No, I didn't see myself as a minister. I was a shy person. I didn't speak that much far as open settings or publicly or things like that. No, that was a fret and a fear of mine. Couldn't do that. No. But in that moment, I'm hearing that those things are required of me, that I can't do what I wanted to do. And so, of course, I started moving towards what I heard. But of course, all through my journey since then, it's 2026, and that was 2001, January. I constantly get people have me questioning my discernment. And I listen to it sometimes. I'm like, I've seen people or believe them to be greater than me. And I don't ever want to get in that position. That's why I try to be peers to people instead of ever lead over people. I'd rather be your peer. And hopefully you can hear from me. And if it's my turn to lead, let me lead. And then when it's your turn, I'll let you lead. because I see this more as us passing the baton, taking turns, and whoever got it right at the moment is the one we follow. I don't need anybody to lead me, and I don't need to lead anybody. I used to always seek for people to lead me, and Yah rebuked me. I connected with ministry after ministry, and he like basically directed me to take care of my home, lead my home. If anything, that's who I lead, my home. But I constantly listen to other people, join with their vision. And, when y'all pulled me out of it, it definitely, it was ugly. I had a whole period of time that people were separating from me because I separated from something. Not that I had sinned or anything, but they, basically treated me with a scarlet letter. And I'm not going to go all into that because I'm trying to move past that. But still, obey Yah. Right now, I'm taking a break from Facebook or whatever and stuff like that. But I feel my operating on Facebook, that's me obeying Yah. But I need to build up some strength. If I got to go back to that, I'm gonna go back to it. But right now, I even considered not doing this video right now. But consistency, consistency, consistency. Gotta endure. You know, I feel like I'm working to live, but living to work. I always talk, people that's followed me heard me talk about job being the journey obviously bound. And it's like, man, this ain't living. But again, endure to the end. Endure to the end. That's a little ramble. Let me get back to this, Let me get back. All right. And he said to him, I too am a prophet, like you, and a messenger spoke to me by the word of Yahuwah, saying, bring him back to you, to your house, and let him eat bread and drink water. But he lied to him. This is a prophet lie. It's not a real prophet because he lied to him. So he turned back with him, and he ate bread in his house and drank water. He disobeyed Yah at the voice of a man. Men, lead your home. Stop letting these other men direct and have you treat your wife a certain way. Operate under Yah, not the direction of a man on how you handle your household. You are the lead person in your household under Yah, not another man, not your pastor, not your moray, not the doctor, not all these other folks. They are not the ones that's supposed to govern your household. Yah is through you. Let me keep going. And it came to be as they sat at the table, and that the word of Yahuwah came to the prophet who had brought him back. So this prophet lied. Now he is hearing the word of Yah. And he cried out to the man of Elohim who came from Yahudah, saying, thus said Yahuwah, because you have rebelled. Remember, I just got through dealing with rebellion. Now, hold on, let me skip. Let me go back over here for a second. Rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness as the wickedness of idolatry. That's Shemuel, 1 Samuel 15:23. Go back. Because you have rebelled against the mouth of Yahuwah and have not guarded the command. You not heed the instructions, the Torah, which Yahuwah, your Elohim, commanded you, and turned back and ate bread and drank water in the place which he said to you, do not eat bread nor drink water. Your body shall not enter the burial site of your fathers. And it came to be after he had eaten bread and after he had drunk that he saddled the donkey for him and for the prophet whom he had brought back. And he went and a lion met him on the way and killed him, and his body was thrown on the way. So this prophet that wasn't supposed to eat, wasn't supposed to drink, and not go the same way, ate. And now, as he's going on his donkey, a lion met him on the way and killed him. And his body was thrown in the way, and the donkey was standing by it. So the lion didn't touch the donkey, and the lion was standing by the body, guarding that body. And see, men were passing by and saw the body thrown on the way, while the lion was standing by the body, and they went and reported it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And the prophet who had brought him back from the way heard it and said, "It is the man of Elohim who rebelled against the mouth of Yahuwah." This man lied to him, but it's pointing that man rebelled. Come on, if Yah speak to you, even if somebody speaks something different, they lie to you. You are responsible for what Yah told you. So it was labeled rebellion. He rebelled against the mouth of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah gave him to the lion, and it tore him apart and killed him, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke to him. The original man of Yah, the original prophet, when he disobeyed Yah, got dealt with. And he spoke to his son, saying, "Saddle the donkey for me," and they saddled it. Now, I'm gonna stop here, but basically they gathered that body. The old man put him in what would have been his grave, where he was going to be buried. So he didn't get buried with his ancestors. He got buried in that man's grave, and you know, it's a whole nother story. But that don't matter. That ain't my point. My point is enduring to the end. He didn't endure. He did not. He consistently what was told to him. He was doing it. He was doing the will of Yah, but he let someone else. Basically, I believe personally, this old prophet was dealing with a younger prophet. He seen the old prophet and he respected his person and said, "Oh, he must have heard from Yah." But you already hearing from Yah yourself. What you need somebody else to filter through what Yah is saying. We got some of these young mores or young teachers out here that know Yah has told them, but these old heads want to come in and say they got to have some direction in it. It's okay to give them advice. It's okay to accept advice, but you don't have to do what they say. Take it to Yah. Never telling you to block out hearing people. Be quick to hear, but slow to act. Hear them. Because if I speak to you something, I hope that you will hear me. But if it goes against what Yah has told you, throw it away. Do what Yah say, not what I say. Do what Yah say, not the Moreh, not the whoever these leaders are out here. Do what Yah has told you, even if it has you separated from whatever assembly, whatever group. Do what Yah say, because that's a part of your enduring. When you set up and please men, you'll be all right for a moment, but in the end, you're gonna lose your salvation. So let's deal with that. Let's deal with that. I'm gonna kind of just talk. Moses, 40 years in Egypt. Moses, 40 years in the wilderness. Then he's supposed to come back to his people and operate to deliver them. The deliverance happens. They're in the wilderness, and Moses is dealing with these people over and over, even when the people have dealt with idolatry, all these different things that the people kept doing. Moses has stepped before Yah and obeyed and obeyed and obeyed. But Moses got tired. You got Aaron with him. Aaron helped with the disobedience. Moses, like, that's my brother. I need him, he intercede for him. Miriam giving him struggle. He intercede for her. He interceding, he dealing all of this for these people over and over again. They need some water. Yah says, strike the rock and they'll get some water. That happens. They keep going on. You would think that, they would see consistently how Yah's moving in their favor, even when things aren't favorable towards them. But they murmuring. And Moses, like, he getting tired. He getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just like right now, I'm kind of feeling like that. But the opportunity for the people to want water again comes up. But Yah says, instead of striking the rock, he said, just speak to it. Just speak to the rock. We are people of comfort, people that basically we see what happened before and we can live off of that. Moses knew he had struck the rock before, but Yah said, speak to the rock. Moses had interceded for the people before, but he was getting tired. He was getting frustrated. So this day, he remembering, of course, I'm pretty sure he remembered, Yah had, said, I could destroy this people, start a nation with you. He like, man, I done stuck my neck out for y'all. Y'all want some water. Pop! Hit that rock instead of speaking to it. Water, they got water just like the first time. But man, he didn't do what Yah said. This man had been consistently obedient. Consistent. Then what? He let his tired, he let his feelings, he let his emotions, he let his, frustrations, all those things came into play. And instead of enduring to the end, he checked out for a moment. Sad thing with that, though, all that consistency, he didn't really get a chance to redeem himself. Yah said, you ain't making it into this. Now, I was different on thought that him making it into the eternity or whatever. I believe that he's going to be there, but that's my beliefs or whatever. I'm not gonna push that on nobody. I believe the Brit Hadashah that, Yah still, that testimony of Moses is going to be important and that Moses still will be a part of the kingdom when everything is restored here on earth. But he didn't get to make it into this promised land at that time. He didn't endure to the end. Thing is, though, his consistency prior, he had someone watching him. We called him Joshua when we was Christians, but it's Yahushua. This same man went into the tent meeting with Yah with Moses. This same man heard from Yah, and this same man, when it came to the land, when they surveyed it, he like, oh, yeah, they giants in there, but we can take them. This man trusted Yah, and he saw Moses trusting Yah, and so that gave him an example that increased his testimony. So when Moses didn't obey and lost his right to go in there, Yahushua, excuse me, he stayed consistent. He did what he was supposed to do. And even when it comes to the end of his life, he like, let me go ahead. I might as well show you, read it, because I can run my mouth and say it a lot, but let me read it. I'm gonna go over here. Yahushua. And I'm gonna just start right here, is because this is at the end of his life. So this the last. It wasn't no chapter and verses back then, but this the last chapter of the writing about him. 24, Yahushua or Joshua 24. But I'm gonna go what's called verse 14, and it says, "And now fear Yahuwah, serve him in perfection and in truth, and put away the mighty ones, the deities, which your fathers served beyond the river and in Mizraim, and serve Yahuwah. And if it seems evil to your eyes to serve Yahuwah, choose for yourselves this day whom you are going to serve, whether the mighty ones which your fathers served that were beyond the river, or the mighty ones of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But I and my house, me and my family, me and my mishpachah, we serve Yahuwah." This man is making a declaration. He's saying, look, do what you're going to do. But I know what Yah told me. I know what I'm going to obey. I know what Yah told me. And the people answered and said, "Far be it from us to forsake Yahuwah, to serve other mighty ones." They talking it. They lining up. For Yahuwah our Elohim is he who has brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Mizraim from the house of bondage. Who did those great signs before our eyes and has guarded us in all the way that we went among all the people through whom we passed. And Yahuwah drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites, who dwelt in the land. We too serve Yahuwah, for he is our Elohim. So they talking that stuff. They're letting it be known. We gonna do it too. Then Yahushua said to the people, you are not able to serve Yahuwah, for he is set apart Elohim, a jealous El. Jealous Al is he. He does not bear with your transgression and with your sins. He ain't gonna deal with your disobedience. Y'all ain't gonna be able to do it. He like, I know what we gonna do in my household, but y'all ain't gonna be able to do it. He like, if you forsake Yahuwah and shall serve mighty ones of a stranger, then he shall turn back and do you evil and consume you after he has been good to you. Just remember, I just talked about it. Moses was consistent until he wasn't. And Yah turned back on him and said, "Nah, you can't go into this promised land." So he letting these people, if you turn away from Yah, he gonna leave you alone. And the people said to Yahusha, "No, but we do serve Yahuwah." They chest out like, mm-mm. They saying it with their chest. Then Yahushua said to the people, "You are witnesses against yourself that you have chosen Yahuwah for yourselves to serve him." And they said, "Witnesses!" They declared it strongly and loud. They plan to endure to the end. They plan to be consistent. They plan to do what they said they're going to do. They want to obey. They're going to be obedient to Yah. And now, put away the mighty ones of the stranger which is in your midst, and incline your heart to Yahuwah your Elohim. And the people said to Yahushua, "Yahuwah our Elohim we serve, and his voice we obey." And Yahushua made a covenant with the people that day and laid on them a law. He put some Torah, he put some commands, some instructions on them, and right ruling in session. And Yahushua wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim. So that what people say, the first five books, or what the Yahushua had a hand in that. Moses was the one that everybody gets the credit, but Yahushua was the script, the one that was writing it up. It said right there. Then Yahushua wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim, and he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak that was by the set apart place of Yahuwah. And Yahushua said to all the people, "See, this stone is a witness to us, for it has heard, this stone heard all the words of Yahuwah which he spoke to us, and it shall be a witness against you, lest you lie against your Elohim." Then Yahushua sent the people away, each to his own inheritance. Now here goes something that's key. Keep on, let's go. And after these events, it came to be that Yahushua, son of Nun, the servant of Yahuwah, died 110 years old. So he finished his race. He endured to the end. But check it out. He gave such a great example to those people. Let's keep going. And they buried him within the border of his inheritance at Timnah Serah, which is in the mountains of Ephraim on the north side of Mount Gaash. And Israel served Yahuwah all the days of Yahushua. So up to that point when he died, they were serving Yah. They were obeying Yah. They were walking in the instructions and the commands and the Torah of Yah. And all the days of the elders who outlived Yahushua. So when Yahushua died, the other people that had spoken said that they're going to serve too still were living, some of them. And guess what? All their days too, they served, and the people served all the days of the elders who lived, Yahushua, who had known all the works of Yahuwah which he had done to Israel. And the bones of Joseph, I don't even need to read that part. Yahushua set an example of consistency. He set an example of enduring to the end, and that example was followed by the other people around him. He seen the person who were leading over him, directing him in Moses, not endure, but he endured. Man, we can't get weary in our well doing. It is easy to do so. I'm guilty, but I'm still in this race because my race is not done. But I can tell you, I feel like quitting sometimes, not just sometimes, a lot of times. But I got to get back in there. You got to get back in there. Don't quit. Endure, 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 endure. It's not the easiest of tasks. And sometimes you can feel like you're alone. You may be alone, far as men, but Yah's with you. If Yah's with you is greater, bigger than if the world is against you. Endure. Man, it can seem like ain't nothing changing. Let the change be in you. Because I'm not the same person that I was in 2001. I'm not. But I got a lot of work to do. I'm still a piece of work, but I'm not the same piece of work that I was back then. But I'm still a piece of work. I still got a lot to do, and my body ain't at the strength. You know, my leg been hurting, my foot been hurting all this week. The same one I tore my Achilles. You know, even tearing my Achilles. I'm not the same. I'm not as strong, but I still have to put on the Ruach and move forward. Enduring to the end is going to be a task. It's not easy. And sometimes you can feel alone, but you're not. You have Yah. And if he's talked to you, remember what he's told you. Don't let another man, another woman come in and alter what he said towards you. Man, some of the problems with us as a people is that we forget what we've been through. We forget what has gotten us to this point. Man, all of that stuff that I wanted to quit from in my early days was greater than a lot of the stuff that I want to quit from now. Like I said, I was suicidal, homicidal, all that stuff, and I'm not that now. But it's a job that's getting the better of me sometimes. It's dealing with, I got my own children and dealing with somebody else's children. They ain't mine. So why am I going to quit what I'm doing Off of them. They not invested in me. Though I may be invested in them, they're not invested in me. I got to be invested in myself to an extent. I do, want to tell you, you can't focus just on self. Just like Moses couldn't focus just on self, he got to focusing on himself. You got to focus on everybody, but if you don't deal with you first, how can you deal with, if you don't learn to love you, how do you love anyone else? If you don't deal with your mental health, your spiritual health, how do you be accessible by everyone else? You have to endure to the end. That means sometimes you may have to take a hiatus from certain things, take a break, just so you can build up strength to get back into it. A pause, or peace, or as they say, peace be still, shalom. Sometimes you just need to, oh, today is Shabbat, perfect day for that. We got that every week that we get to do that. And a lot of folks really don't take this time to cast off the worries of this world to get ourselves back into this fight. Because this is a fight. We are at war. And most of us are so comfortable we don't notice. We've been at war all our life. I talk about that job journey, obviously bound. We work so that we can live, but no, most of us, if you be honest, you live to work. You right there in Groundhog Day every day. You do the same thing every week to do the same thing at the end of the week. You gotta know your purpose, seek it, remember it. I was told I'm pre-assigned to do what I'm doing now. I didn't see, I didn't even see this much, and greater may be required of me. But if you don't get in there and start, how can you finish? Endure, endure, endure. My daughter just finished college, and I can remember that first year when I had to give her an encouraging word because she was like, I don't think I can do this. She did it. She did it and got cords. She did it a lot cum laude, or she excelled at it, even though she didn't think she would. But it's in her. It's in me. Yah is in us. Abba Yah, I thank you for this Shabbat. I thank you for this opportunity to encourage those around. We have to be ready for all the tasks that come our way because this enduring to the end thing is not easy. We might lack the encouragement from others, but you are always encouraging us. You are always giving us direction in your word. When we see the test and the testimonies of those that are our ancestors, we can see that it's not going to always be favorable, in the sight of others, what we're doing. It's going to cause people to fall off. But you have us. You're watching, you're walking with us, you're giving instructions. All these things are consistently happen, and we must stay consistent in our walk. Get tired, so what? But don't quit. I thank you, Yah, that you're giving me the motivation to not quit. Thank you that you give me a wife that gives me a motivation to not quit. I thank you that she's been consistent with me, always my cheerleader, always loving on me. And so I got to stop focusing on what men and what other people are thinking because, again, I want to finish this race. I want to endure to the end and I want to be pleasing to you. I want to obey you. So I thank you, Yah, that this may be edifying to someone that's hearing and that I'm able to play it back and get some edification. All glory to you, Yah. All praises to the Most High. Yada Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom. Shanquil Yah or Shanquilla Carter. One Vision Ministry. Echad. Chazan Sheriff. Shabbat Shalom.